Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. Last week, we predicted 2025 Pokemon market, what's going to go up, what's going to go down, what are we going to do. Today, we are reviewing our predictions we made a year ago. I made a year ago on this channel. I don't just make the predictions, get all the views. I go back, I audit them, right, wrong, in between. I will let you know how they do. So if you want to see the original video that I made, 2024 predictions, in full, it's there. If you want to just recap it here, you should check and you should verify that the things that I said I actually guessed, right? Don't just take my word for it. The video's there. And if you want to see 2025 market predictions, that video will be linked above. But let's dive right into it. So, auditing my guesses from 2024. I don't just put guesses out into the ethos and then assume nobody's going to go back, check those receipts. Hey, Dan guessed this, that, and the other thing, and he was wrong on all counts. I'm going to do the vetting myself. I'm going to do a reaction video to Dan 1 year ago and see how he did. So prediction. One thing I'm trying to do, and one thing I mentioned this before, I try to make, if you ask me anything, could go up, could go down. I try to attribute numbers to certain things. I try to say on this date, this is going to be worth this much, I think. And I'm going to do XYZ because I think that thing. And yeah. So I guessed the print run. This is an easy thing to guess annually. They didn't do it every year, but for the past several years, they've been releasing the print run. I guessed in fiscal 2024, I guessed that they would print 8 to 9 billion cards. I put 8.5 billion cards. Almost 12 billion. Almost like 40% more. I was 40% under what it actually was. Mind-blowing. The boom that we're in, all the things that are going on. They printed 12 billion cards last year. They printed 1.5 Pokemon cards for every human on planet Earth. And it's not enough by some measures. The prices of so many things are going up. By many measures, it is not enough. 12 billion cards. So, absolutely wild. I had guessed, didn't feel like it was too much of a leap. The same guess that I'm making for 2025, that spoiler if you didn't watch last video, I guessed that they would reprint mid to late Sword and Shield sets. I guessed that they would probably not reprint every single one, just like I did with Scarlet Violet. They usually have a way of like keeping you guessing. They could just reprint everything. They have the power of the printers. They can do whatever they want. But generally speaking, they print about a 2-year reprint window. And at the time, early January 2024, I had guessed that they were going to reprint most of the late Sword and Shield sets. I don't have a fantastic memory. There are other channels that would be a lot better. This is exactly what I got on this day. If I had spent another hour or two preparing for this video, I could have gone through my invoices. I could have watched 5 more YouTube videos. I don't remember that they did all of them, but they did do a lot of them. They did do a lot of them. In 2024, we didn't get like Evolving Skies. We didn't get a final one of those, but we did get like a last call of a lot of them. Reprint, restock, whatever you want to call it. Semantics are a big thing. That's one thing that people always have a tough time with. But in any case, I would call that, I mean, I was definitely way short here. So that was just like a wrong, nowhere within my range did that fall. This one, I would say I was fairly close. I couldn't say 100% right, but more right than this one. A lot of these, it's not going to necessarily be he was way right, he was way wrong. It's just what percentage, what degree. And then another thing, like talk. So right now I'm talking, anyone can talk, anyone can turn on a camera, they can put on their investor cosplay, and they can babble on and rant on for hours. And I babble and I rant, but I don't just talk, I walk. I'm big on this channel about like, here's what I think and here's what I'm doing. I did not drastically sell any of my Sword and Shield positions in 2024 as I hadn't planned to. I did the investment palette with my dad. Some went on there. I did an inventory showing off everything I had. The one area that I did sell more, and it was kind of just to get the ball rolling there, but down below my face here, you see the image, Fanatics Collect. I started consignments with them last year, and they used to take sealed. Unfortunately, I cannot consign sealed for you right now. In the future, hopefully I will be able to again. But off the bat, I wanted to test it. I wanted to send them Sword Shield cases and see how it went, see what kind of prices they achieved. I was always very happy with the prices they achieved. I was very happy with the whole process, how they did it. But I sold maybe 6 or 7 Sword and Shield cases that I wasn't really needing to. I just wanted to do it over a few weeks span, see how the service went. And so unfortunately, I didn't reap all the gains that those things got. I wasn't like fire selling them because I thought reprints were going to happen. I don't remember my exact wording or anything. Maybe you went back and checked out the video before you started this one. But as they do, as it's been for the last little while, a lot of the reprints came and they offered them at 120. They offered them at 140, 150, limit 1 box per week, 3 boxes per week, 6 boxes per week. That's the way a lot of these things have gone. At some point, I'm pretty sure things will change. At some point, I'm pretty sure we will get sub $100 shipped booster boxes on eBay, but not in the very short term. We're just in this moment where the 12 billion cards last year wasn't enough. I don't know how many they're printing this year. Last week, I made my guess towards that. But yeah, it's wild times. I made theories on block progression. A lot of people think like, oh, hey, they did this in they did this in XY. They put a Charizard in Flashfire, the second set. In Sun and Moon, they did this. In Burning Shadows, they had the Charizard. So I think a lot of it is panning out fairly similar. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to see like how when Scarlet and Violet first came out, it was just like universally panned. Not universally. There were definitely some people that were like, oh, hey, SV bases is cool. Paldea evolved. Obsidian Flames. Like, I like all this stuff. But overall, the prices were weak. The chases were too easy, whatever it may be. The chases did get harder as the sets went on. They did get better subjectively. Some would say objectively. But they did get better. Prices did do better once we hit like Twilight Masquerade. And then things just went to the moon, right? Surging Sparks doing what it's doing. Prismatic Evolution. We're on the this week, Prismatic Evolution is coming out, and pre-order prices are obscene. So kind of similar to what we had and felt throughout Sword and Shield. More predictions. This is where it gets interesting. This is where I more had particular card, particular price, particular item, particular price. So I had a typo in my last thing. I put on 1/1/2024, the Charizard UPC will continue marching upwards and be $150. So I put a specific product with a specific time frame and a specific price. So let's look at this actual item. I was predicting this in very early January, and I do have the 1 year chart here. So let me pull this up, scroll down. So it's 220 right now. I undershot it by a lot. I mean, $60 on 220, that's like 25-30% off. So scrolling down, where was it when I made the prediction? When I made the prediction, TCG Player is showing 99 to 114. I kind of recall eBay maybe was a little bit cheaper, especially if you buy it by the case. 100 is where in my mind that it was. I believe in the video I said, I expect this to go up maybe 50% in the next year. And it's crazy, like 50%. That's a big number. I guessed like a very bullish, big number on that product. And instead of 50%, it went up 120%. This whole, like, and I think I said, it will continue marching upwards. So much time that product was available. So long, it was like, oh, this is a terrible investment. It was down, down, down. People are down on it. And clearly, for the pre-order people that bought it at $200-300, whatever it was, they didn't do too well. Now they're coming back around to maybe about break even. If they bought it pre-order a crazy price, didn't cancel their pre-order, honored it, and then sat on it till now, they're coming around to where they're like breaking even on their money again. But yeah, absolutely wild. I guess this is more of like the auditing my prediction video, but why don't I kick the can down the road? Why don't I do like, where will this be in a year? Where will this be in a year again? So it's 220 right now. I'm going to say it's going to be 300. I'm going to call 300 for the Charizard UPC on 1/1/26. So I'm going to give you a little bit of bonus, additional predictions, follow-up predictions on some of these products here. Let me go back out of this one. And let's say, similar to Zard UPC, Mew UPC will flounder, then tick up in late 2024. So I didn't put firm prices on this one, but I said I expect it to be kind of rough. And all last summer, all 2024 summer, it was available. If you have Costco's, if you have some of those warehouse clubs, it was available. It was there for like $80. Wholesale price on these when they came out for me 72, 75, maybe $70, depending on how big of an account you were. I want to say I bought most of mine at 72. Let's look at the numbers. Let's show the data. 280 is the current buy box on TCG Player. Some of the recent sales, most recent sale 280, 258 is like the most recent data point showing on the chart. And absolutely wild. It's wild. 12 billion cards printed in fiscal 2023. Remains to be seen what fiscal 2024 will bring for print run. But absolutely wild. I guessed that it would flounder. What did I say? It will flounder and then tick up in late 2024. So what percentage do you want to say I was right on that one? It floundered. It floundered. It was available most of the summer, and probably, if I had to guess by looking at this chart, it probably went out sometime in July at Costco, because then after that it just boarded the rocket ship and went to the moon. I never would have guessed that this would be 260 by the end of the year. And that's where it is. That's what it did. I mean, 151 is 10, 12 bucks a pack, 16 packs in there. The promos are doing really well. So it's wild. 280 is not what it is, but that's like the buy box right now. 260 more is like the market price for what this is called, but there's none listed lower than that. Where do I think this will be in a year? Oof. Let's call it 270. The 270, a 33% increase would be 360. So let's go with a nice clean 360 for a 33%, 1/3 gain on the 151 Mew UPC. As far as like Zard UPCs, Mew UPCs, I have some on investment palettes that I will not touch until 2030. I have some more kicking around otherwise. I do have some of the Zard UPCs actually at Troll and Toad Evo still. Those ones I just popped up for like $219.99. I don't really want to pay shipping, take them back, and then have to pay shipping fees to sell them. They're way above what my price target was, clearly. $150 on January 1st, 2024. So it's like I'm just taking the proceeds. I'm just listing them on. I think I have 40 left there. I'm listing them. I'm going to take the money from the sales and move it on into other plays for this year. And then this one, I'm not like falling over myself to add more. If anyone has any they want to sell, I pay 75, maybe 80% on things like this on sealed product. I mostly am looking for packs for my live streams. I want to buy at 70 to 80%, sell for 100, 105%, and just make that margin, make that money. This is more of like a speculative play. I truly do think, like, I put my numbers out there. I theorized pretty big gains. I forecasted pretty big gains on these, but they absolutely could go down too. They could be stagnant. They could be flat. They could be slightly down. You never really know. And it's always been a part of what I do, the sealed product investing, speculating, but I limit the amount of capital I do it with. If someone hit me up with 50 grand of these, I would be uncomfortable adding that much more to the position I already hold, because that's tying up 50 grand that it's like I could spend 50 grand in 1 month, have Ponga PK, stream them on Fanatics, and like make that churn, make that 10%, like 5, 10, 15% net margin, turning it over. So yeah, that's where I'm at on those products like that. Let me go back. I made, so the best prediction that I made, the best prediction that I've been making since that James Z&G Emporium bet that I made on sub $10 PSA grading open to the public. I've been making that bet for the past few years. I want to say like the first time we made it was on January of 2023, that no $10 grading would be open. I'm making the same thing again. Last week, I said I don't think $10 grading will be open at PSA again. I said no $10 wide open PSA grading this year again. $12 base floor with $10 to $11 specials is what I'm predicting for. That's what I'm predicting for this year. That's what I had predicted for last year too. So I basically just kicked the can down the road. I think CGC actually, I was watching a video. I haven't sent anything to CGC in a week or a couple weeks at least, but I believe CGC actually rounded up, bumped up slightly. Not anything massive, but I think they bumped up their fees a little bit. PSA in the last couple of months, at one point they had a $13 Pokemon special, maybe a $14 PSA Pokemon special, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there. Most of those expired now. I think the 14 or 15 is the lowest what PSA is right now. So one thing I said too, which is pretty wild, I said hot potatoes. I said in 2024, the hot potatoes will cool off even quicker than they had in the past. Hot potatoes being like when the special delivery Charizard came out, and the first one sold way up here, and then it goes down. And the Surging Sparks Pikachu, when first one sells here, and then it goes way down. Moonbreon, first one sells way up here, and then it goes down a little bit, and then it goes up to the moon forever. Never to be seeing the first to market prices again. Moonbreon is like the exception of all exceptions. It is a beautiful card, but it's also doing crazy things. I don't think that one really happened. I think we had quite a diverse market in 2024. Since October, it's been nothing but rockets, rocket emojis, green charts, up and to the right, all since October, since this play started. And yes, I will be talking about this card. But there were times earlier in the year, earlier in the summer, as I said, 150 and 1 UPCs were just there. Different cards were not being quite as hot, not being quite as crazy. But as of right now, we're in a boom of all booms. And I would call that prediction overall wrong. A lot of the, like, so many people, I think you'll understand what I'm saying as I say it. So many people are like, who are these people buying this first to market card? They always go down. They almost always go down. Why would you spend that much money? Impatience, FOMO, hype. People just can't, like, they have to have it right when it comes out. And maybe they're going to hold it forever. Maybe they're going to sell it later for a loss. Maybe they're going to hold it until it comes back. And I don't know what the story is. I don't know who these buyers are. We likely never will. But I would say overall, like, the first to market play is stronger than it was this time last year. So I was definitely wrong there. And one prediction I had made, one firm prediction I had made on October 16th, 2023. And I had predicted at that time that Gogh Pikachu would be 50 sealed and it would be a $300 PSA 10. To be fair to me, at the time that I made that predict, like at the time, the time for which it ended, that was not a prediction to end on January 1st, 2025. On October 16th, 2024, the PSA 10 was about $300. That was the time that John and I, Radar and I, bought the 400 sealed case of Van Goghs. And I was pretty close on the sealed. I was not very close on the raw. Or yeah, I was quite close on the PSA 10. I was not very close on the sealed. So the sealed was actually 110-ish. John and I paid about 120 a piece for those 400. So I was quite off. I was under 50% of the true price on the sealed. I guess I thought it was going to be a way hotter PSA 10 than it was. And the PSA 10 I was right on. But now, so Dan, well, hey, I'm pretty sure that card's not that anymore. Was it really that only 3 months ago? Just under 3 months ago? Yes, it was. So the PSA 10 was about 300 a few short months ago. John and I bought that case. I will have a video in a couple of weeks to follow on how the gray felt hat play is going. But let me give you a little teaser. $761. I believe this one was actually my copy. Maybe this one was my copy as well. Shout out to ZNG Emporium if you want to sell on eBay. I do Fanatics down below. I think Fanatics and eBay are both great platforms. I think certain cards work better on one platform over the other. I think both are neck and neck as far as prices realized in a lot of ways. But eBay is definitely the bigger platform. I do edge James out on the lower value thresholds. So I pay out a higher percentage at a lower sale price. But it is definitely a smaller platform. So one thing that I do personally, it's like, hey, Dan, you're talking a bunch again. What are you walking? What are you doing? So John and I, through this gray felt hat play, I'm not going to spoil how many PSA 10s we graded. We don't have them all back. This may or may not be a fat stack of gray felt hat PSA 10s that I'm going to deal with tomorrow. But I usually do this. I usually say, hey, Fanatics is a good platform. This is Fanatics. Hey, eBay is a good platform. This is eBay. And they're all going to go out tomorrow. I'm going to do a little bit of both. Do I think one is universally better than the other? No. Do I like one? Sometimes one's a little bit higher, one's a little bit lower. Maybe when we do the gray felt hat video review, we can actually see like, hey, Dan, here's the gray felt hats. How do they do? When a card over a month doubles, it's hard to say like, oh, well, I mean, sometimes they change by the hour. It's like if you sold one at noon on Sunday versus 4 p.m. on Sunday, it might be up 10% by then. It might, like, this market's just absolutely bonkers. So I was pretty on with the PSA 10 price as of October 16th, which is when I made the guess for. But as far as January 1st, 2025, I never would have guessed. And in my video last week, I made a prediction of, I think this will go up and then down. Not up or down. I think it will continue to go up to a certain number. I put a certain number on it. And I think it will go down to a certain number. I put a specific number on it again. Non-Pokemon predictions. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting, a little bit fun, or maybe not so fun, depending on who you are, what your thoughts are. But I made a prediction that MetaZoo would miss the mark on its announcements. I was nervous. At the time I made this video last year, they had just announced that they were going to do 3 sets in 2024. And I said, man, with how far behind they were on everything, you could go back and you could listen to it. I said, with how far behind they were on everything, I wish they would have promised less. I said, I wish they would have promised, like, first half of the year, literally just catch up. Give everyone War, give everyone Legacy, give everyone all their streamer kits, all their Valentine stuff from the year prior that they hadn't even caught up on. I said, please do that. I hope they do that. And then MetaZoo comes out with this roadmap for 2024, and it includes 3 main sets. I said, please, just make 1 main set. Catch up, make 1 main set, and we will be more happy for it. I'm sure certain people, maybe not everyone involved, but like certain people probably knew the writing was on the wall. Certain people probably knew at the time that they made those promises for 2024 that, like, things weren't going to happen. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those people. I did not know that. So I guessed that it would miss its mark, which I was correct on. The degree, though, to which they missed their mark, going bankrupt, was not on my bingo card. So I was correct, but not correct enough. Kind of like the Gray Felt Hat Pikachu, right? Like, I hit the PSA 10, but the sealed was less than half of what it was. And then what the PSA 10 would continue to do in the coming months. So what MetaZoo would do, they did miss the mark. So I was right in January. And then in February, they just went above and beyond, missing the mark by going entirely bankrupt. So yeah, I did make predictions for MetaZoo. I did make predictions for MetaZoo last week in my video. So if you haven't checked that out, check that out. I said One Piece would be cooling. I have not followed up on One Piece. I do have some amount of product. I've sold some on eBay. OP05, OP06, 07, 08, Pillars of Strength, Paramount War. Like, some of these words come to my mind. Which one's which, I don't remember. I have maybe 8 to 10 cases of various One Piece sealed product that I just haven't gotten around to listing. I know last time I did a batch, one time I went out, I took some inventory, and I maybe allocated like an hour to doing some inventory on my One Piece, getting things listed. I listed it all a little bit, undercut the market. It all flew within a week or two. Some of the prices were higher than I would have guessed and remembered. Some of them were a fair bit lower. So I think overall, this was like part true, reasonably fair. But if you follow One Piece and you're big into One Piece, I know there's a couple people always in my live streams telling me to talk about it, telling me to invest in it. Let me know in the comments below. Would you say that 2024 was a period of cooling for One Piece? Is that fair? If you don't use the word cooling, give me 1 word or 1, 2, 3 words to better characterize how 2024 was. I said Lorcana, mostly a meme because I had said it in Pokeflips before, but I said naturally it would be dead before MetaZoo. So MetaZoo died once. Now we have zombie MetaZoo preparing to make a comeback in Q1 of 2025. So will I be right? Say like this theoretical world where Lorcana dies in 2029 and MetaZoo Zombie, Meta2, whatever you want to call it, lives on. Was I right all along? Was I wrong then right? Does it not count? Does it count double? I don't know. MetaZoo's Zombie, MetaZoo's Revival, Meta2 is coming back. And so, like, I was wrong, clearly. I'm mostly memeing here. But I could be wrong then right. Meta2 could, like, outlive Lorcana, which is a prediction that I did make. I'm spoiling some of the predictions I made last week, and then I'm making you go back and watch to get some of the other ones. Magic, Flesh and Blood. I watch Rudy a fair bit. I think Magic is crushing, especially the collector's boxes. Not crushing as thoroughly as Pokemon is. But I didn't really make any guesses for those. Fab, Flesh and Blood, I have no idea what that's doing. I've consigned to last year's video, I actually had said I've never held one of those cards. I've never consigned one. That changed in 2024. I sold some of them. I sold a couple cold foils. I sold a couple Library of what? Not Library of Alexandria. That's a Magic card, I believe. But I sold a couple libraries. I believe there's a big library card. I don't know what the cards were. Clearly, I don't know anything about Magic or Flesh and Blood. So really no guess, nothing to audit there. I didn't really make a substantial guess. It's just like, They're cardboard, so they're adjacent to what I do, but I really don't do anything with them at all. If you have cards, if you want them consigned, I will absolutely consign them. But yeah, they're not a substantial part of my holdings, my business in that way. So I just don't make predictions where I don't interact. In closing, these were all guesses, as they always are. I'm one guy on YouTube with my guesses. I talk a bunch, I rant a bunch, I yell at the clouds, but I try to like show you what I'm doing too. I think a lot more valuable is the walk that I'm walking, and you're walking alongside me on this journey if you're following closely on this YouTube channel. And I'm big about that. There's a lot of people, and you don't have to. By no means do you have to give the level of transparency that I do. Some people might give more. Some people might give less. Some people might give none. As long as you're not lying, cheating, stealing, I'm cool with it. Which, unfortunately, some of that goes on YouTube as well. But big thing I've said last year, I will say it forever. Maybe you're new here, maybe you're not. You've heard me say, don't get lost in the noise. I made a video, one of my favorite videos I made. Don't get lost in the noise. Know your goals. Do things every day that guide you towards those goals. Smart goals. Another video that I love, that I made, one of my favorite videos that I'll point back to a bunch. But like if you have this card, more and more, especially in the boom that we're in, you have this card. If you have a certain box, a certain case, a certain set, whatever it is, whatever you have, should I sell or should I hold? Nobody knows if the price is going to go up or down. Nobody knows. A lot of people think they have a good thought. People are confident Moonbryon is too modern, too high pop, it's trash, it's going to crash. People are confident this card's got to crash because it's 30,000 PSA 10. Nobody knows. People are confident that vintage is dead and it's all going to go to zero. Nobody wants it. And people have no idea what's going to happen with like any of it. Once it happens, oh, it's obvious. I knew that was going to happen. No, you didn't. You're just saying it. Yes, it's obvious that chart moved the way that it did because you're looking at it and it's like, yeah, you are a market savant because you can point at this and tell me what it did. Show me the video a year ago where you said it was going to do this. If anyone made a video a year ago calling for this to be 220, I called for it to be 150. And I kind of impressed myself that it exceeded me in that way. But show me the video a year ago where someone called for this to be 220, where someone called for this to be 280, where someone called for this to be 700. I'll wait. Link me in the comments. Timestamp me. I don't think they're out there. I'm quite confident they're not out there. And if they are, I will apologize. I'll go leave a comment on the video. I will retract my statement. I won't delete the video. I don't unlist the videos. I don't delete videos. But I will apologize profusely to whoever needs that apology. But who is guessing? Who knew? Like people, oh, Fusion Strike, such a good set. I like it. I agree. I like all the sets to some extent. But who is calling for it to double in the past 40 days or 50 days or whatever it's been? Absolutely wild what's going on out here. And don't rear view. If you sold your Van Gogh 2 months ago when it was $400, you probably made a bunch of money on it. You probably did very well. You probably put that money into something else, paying off debt, going on a vacation, going out to a fancy dinner, whatever it was. It's like you make the best call you can at the time. Learn from it. I'm not saying like bury your head in the sand, forget that it ever happened. Learn from it, but don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on it and miss all these opportunities in today's market. Again, whether you're like, primarily this is a reseller channel, primarily this is like a business channel, but if you are a collector only and you never sell, you can still glean information off this. I believe that you can still be entertained to some extent, be educated to some extent. And so don't rear view in a negative way. Don't be stuck looking back. You're looking over your shoulder and then you rear end the guy in front of you because you're stuck. Oh man, what could have been? Don't worry about it. Just keep doing whatever you're doing. Get closer to goals. And in 2024, my plan was to work on the backlog, expand consignments, get back to grading by summer. The context of when I said that. So that happened. I've been making graded edge plays in summer slowly. Again, I've never would have guessed. If you had told me, Dan, 2024, you're going to do, and I'll tell you, I will tell you, I forget exactly. Let me double check what my schedule is for my upcoming videos. But I never would have expected. At the time, I did not have a Fanatics consignment service. I pivoted into that when I believe it was May. eBay announced that the vault had been sold and it was going to be turned into the PSA vault. So you didn't have to go home, but you couldn't stay there. And I moved a lot of that stuff. I moved a lot of my cards, a lot of consignor cards to Fanatics. So I did work on the backlog substantially. I didn't really know necessarily that I was going to be through live selling. I sent a lot of my remaining backlog to Ponga and PK to be sold live. So what I had for a vision, like I had a goal with a certain process in mind for achieving that goal. I primarily thought it was going to be through eBay. I did have live selling at the time. I had been in early conversations with PK and Ponga already. I had been in early thoughts of like eBay live, maybe whatnot. But then Fanatics Live came. So I had these goals. I had these things in mind. I had ideas of the mechanisms that would bring me towards them. Everything turned on its head. A lot of things changed, but the goals still were accomplished, just in a different way, because I was ready and willing to pivot and roll with the punches, I guess. One door closes, a window opens, whatever cliche things you want to say. I was able to do all the goals that I set out for. Just, it looked different than I would have expected. And I will let you know. I was trying to pull up my list of upcoming videos as I was saying that, and then I realized that I forgot to do it. But I will sorry, I'm just trying to get this pulled up. Sorry. So yeah, my upcoming videos. This is the 2024 prediction audit. Next week, I will do a not live stream 90-day recap, and I will tease some big live streaming news that I've already talked about. I'm breaking a base set box on January 25th, Saturday night with PK. I'm going to be at his house. We're going to be breaking that base set box. And then, so next week, next Monday, a week from today, you'll see a 90-day live stream selling recap. And then the week after that, on January 27th, you will see an entire recap of either my sales or my purchases in 2024. So I'll probably give the selling side. This is, I will break down exactly to the dollar. This is how much I sold on eBay. This is how much I sold on Fanatics. This is how much I sold on Fanatics Live. This is how much was consignments. This is how much was me. I will give you everything. That'll be a fun video. And another thing that I talked about in 2024, I was looking into TCG Player Story or products. So I did bring back TCG Player, but I did not do it through that fashion. I am not even a direct seller. So I have Skya, that one guy, is doing like a consignment setup with my TCG Player inventory. So I did bring back TCG Player, though not in the fashion that I thought. TCG Player Story or products is kind of like a Troll and Toad Evo, where you send your stuff to them, they store it in Syracuse, New York, not too far from me, and you price it, but they sell it, they fulfill it. I kind of have like a TCG Player Story or products, but I did it in a custom fashion, and instead of TCG Player being my workers working for me, it's Skya. So I didn't do that one the same exact way that I envisioned, but similarly, the goal was achieved. I had predicted I'd do 3 to 4 Collecticons. I don't remember how many I did. How many did I do last year? I think I skipped, or did I do Orlando last year? Chicago, New Jersey, Charlotte, Orlando. That might be all of them. This year will be pretty similar, maybe more towards 5, maybe 6 events if you count Card Party as well. But yeah, that's everything I had. That's the final slide there. What do we got? 33 minutes. Not too shabby. Another back-to-back presentation videos. We're gonna be presentation heavy because the 90-day live stream recap, that will be surely a presentation, some charts, a lot of numbers, a lot of dollar numbers, a lot of quantity of packs sold, boxes sold, different things like that. I'm very excited for all the data visualizations that I can do on the live stream selling. How many of each set selling by week after release, seeing that big spike, week 0, week 1 after release, thousands of packs being sold, people buying in, trying to get those chases, and then over time how they dip. And it'll be interesting to see like how the sales of I wasn't streaming at the time, but like how would an SV base have dipped compared to a 151, compared to a Surging, compared to a Prismatic. It's gonna be really cool to see 5 years from now. Here are the last 20 sets that were released, and here's how they decayed over time, and here's how some of the better sets, Crown Zenith, 151, how they like stood the test of time and they were ripped more continually over time. So very excited for that. The week after that, 2024 sales and purchases recap, and then goal setting for 2025. And then early February, the first video in February will be a full recap of all Van Gogh Pikachus, how much they sold for, how much it was all bought for, the grading fees, where they sold, Fanatics, eBay, maybe comparing eBay and Fanatics, how they prices realized, all that stuff. That's everything for today, though. As always, I appreciate everyone watching. If you made it all the way, give me that boom emoji. I need to see more boom emojis around. It's not going to last forever, but right now, higher highs each successive Fanatics week for most items. Higher highs each successive ZNG Emporium week for most cards. Not all cards, but most. At some point, we'll see a local minimum, local maximum, maybe a forever maximum on certain cards, and then we'll see a decay. As fast as it can go up, it can go down just as fast. Hopefully, it doesn't. Hopefully, we have a softer landing than we have in the past at times. Hopefully, we still have a long ways to go on this ride. But boom emoji to close it out. As always, I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you all later.